Hello internet friends, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Cynthia, and basically this is a channel about figuring out life, and today we are going to be figuring out the issue of mental health at the University of Waterloo. I am diagnosed with ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder, as well as depression, and I enrolled with accessibility at the University of Waterloo, and have been since the second semester of first year. So the reason why I'm making this video is because it's initially why I started my channel. I just was trying to bring up what had happened to me in a slower pace, but then something happened at my university and I was like, yeah, no, I'm done waiting. I'm just gonna do it, and because it has to be done. So earlier this week, a second year applied health sciences student at my university committed suicide. I just want to send my condolences to all the family, friends, and to everyone that's been affected by the student's passing. I'm really sorry. When I first found out about this student's passing, it hurt me a lot. And I felt really guilty because I knew about the mental health issue at my school because of everything that had happened to me. I was scared that because it's such a controversial topic, I was going to get a lot of hate for it, and I was just trying to finish school. But I didn't want, if I ever came forward with the information that I did, I would have a harder time graduating. I don't know. I know it probably sounds dumb, but because of the experiences that I've had, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where it's going to be even harder to graduate because I'm already struggling. 2015 was when I started my first semester at the University of Waterloo. Probably the best semester, if I'm being honest, because I didn't know that I had anything yet. I wasn't diagnosed with anything yet. I had no idea. I was just going to school. So I had my first English teacher, and the first essay I got back from her, I got a 57. So I was like, oh no, like this is really bad because I need a 7 to stay in my program. So I went to go visit her during her office hours. I was basically like, hey, like, I was like, I got my essay back, and I was just like really confused as to my mark because I really did work hard on it, and is there anything else that I could be adding, like what are you looking for, kind of thing. The 2 tips that she gave me were to go to the writing center at my school and to follow the outline that she gave me. So it's like, cool. So I get back my second essay, and I get like, I think it was like a 63, I'm not too sure, but it was definitely in the low 60s. And then I was like, it was higher than my first essay, so I was like, cool. But I was still like, I'm sorry, what? Like, what am I doing wrong? I visited her again during her office hours, and I was like, hi professor, like, I just want to let you know that I followed everything that you said, and I really did try it, and I went to the writing center, and that's the information that they gave me, and I inputted all of it, and I followed the essay structure. I was like, what else, like, what am I missing still? You know, like, what am I still missing? The thing that she said to me is the reason why I've never gone back to her office again. I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to finish her course, and I'm just going to get out, and I'm just going to just leave it at that. And it's the reason that I've never taken a course with her ever since. She said to me, and she looked me like dead in my eye, no emotion, nothing, and she was like, you show me that you're getting it, and I see that you're doing the work, but you just won't make it here. I'm sitting there like, I'm just trying to do better, and she's not even helping me. What are you trying to say? Like there's no hope for me? I was like, what do you mean by that? I was like, I don't understand. Like, it's just a course with an essay. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what I can do to improve. And she just kept saying that, and she was like, no, like, this is just not the place for you. Like, you just won't make it here. Like, I know you're showing me you're getting it, and I see that you're getting it, but like, you're just not going to make it here. So it's like, you're saying that I'm doing the work, and I'm showing you that I'm getting it, yet you're giving me 50s and low 60s. So what? That's not about like discriminating about mental health, but it's more so like experiences like that, they create anxiety and they create trauma, and that's not something I should have to experience. Like, until this day, if I see her, like, I walk the opposite way because it hurts so much. Also, I forgot to mention, after what she said, I had left her office crying, and I went into the bathroom and I called my mom, and I was just bawling in this bathroom stall for like, I think like an hour until I stopped crying. I went home and I just like shut down because it was so hurtful to me that someone could say that to me. No student should have to go through that. Second year is going to be hard to talk about because this was the year that I almost took my life. I was enrolled in a psychology class. I got the midterm back, and I remember, I know I failed it. I just don't remember what I got, and he never had any office hours, so he let us go pick it up, and I think he had like a student teacher in the room, and I'd asked her, I was like, is there any way that I could like meet with him to talk? And I went to an off in the store, and I'm like, hi sir, my name's Cynthia Prasad, and I was like, I just want to let you know that like this is a course I'm really passionate about, and a course that I really want to do well in, and I didn't really do well on the midterm. I was just wondering if you're able to go through 1 or 2 questions with me, and then I could see like where I'm going wrong, or like something, so I can understand like what's going on, like what level of thinking, like what I'm missing, kind of thing, you know, because maybe like sometimes it just needs that, you just need that one thing to click, and then you're like, oh, like, I'm good. And he was like, no. And I was like, I'm sorry? He goes, no. He was like, are you enrolled with accessibility? And I was like, yeah. Why? And he was like, go to accessibility and get help with anxiety. I think I just stood there and I started crying, and you guys are probably thinking like, why is she just crying everywhere? And I'm like I think I was crying because he was so cold and he was so unsympathetic for a student, and especially when he asked me if I was in accessibility, you would think that he would be a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder. No, he was so mean and he was so rude, and I don't think I was asking for a lot by asking my professor to go through 1 or 2 questions with me. I don't think that's asking for too much. Like, but this is a psychology professor, so it's like, so after that, I went into the bathroom and also cried for like another 2 hours. I was just having such a hard time. I still see him because I happen to have classes in that building this semester, and he's still teaching, and every time I see him I just remember what he said to me, and it's like I just see him walking on, like, he loses nothing. I'm the one who has to drop the course even though I paid for it. And I did complain to accessibility. I went to accessibility and I went to go tell them, and when I told the advisor what happened, she was like, what? Like, she was like in shock. She couldn't believe that happened. And I just dropped it. I always sat in the front row, and I was like, I can't sit in for the rest of his class and look at him after all the things that he said to me. I can't do it. The second experience that happened was with an accessibility counselor. So I got assigned a new counselor. As an English student, I get assigned a lot of books, and especially when you're doing like a full course load, like sometimes I have like 10 to 15 books, like chapter books to read in a span of like 4 months, and it's like, it's really hard to do that, especially when you have essays and like exams and midterms. Like, I don't know, like, I wasn't able to do it, and also like because of my ADHD, like, I read slower than the average person, but as a university student, you need to be able to read between 350 words, between 450 words per minute, something like that, and I can't do that. So the only way to be able to finish all the books that I needed to for the semester was to be able to speed read, or not necessarily like speed reading like in the sense of skimming, but like be able to increase the words I was able to read per minute. I was like, does the learning strategist deal with like speed reading, or just trying to like help students increase their reading speed per minute because I have so many books? Before I could even finish, she was like, due to your condition, it isn't going to be helpful for you. Then she said, that's not how you should be studying. She also said you shouldn't have to cram or use that as your first resource. She also said you should be reading all material first, then skim, so there's no need for speed reading. Then she said, in my 9 years of school, I never needed to speed read, so I don't understand why you would need it. To address her first concern about it being my condition, so it won't be helpful for me, it's also not helpful with my condition that because I'm a slow reader, I can't finish all the books. That's not helping me, that's not helping my program, that's not helping nobody. To address her second concern, that's not how I should be studying. I mean, I just needed to increase how many words I could read per minute so that I could finish all of the books that I needed to. Her third concern was that I shouldn't have to cram. It wasn't my first resource. It was actually like, I don't know, like the second or third one, or fourth, because I tried reading it, like how I know how to read it wasn't working. I tried Googling stuff and tried to teach myself how to read a little bit faster. Wasn't working. Wasn't trying to cram, wasn't trying to do any of that, but she just assumed, okay, cool. Then she was like, you should be reading all material first and then skimming, so there's no need for speed reading. Well, first of all, if I could read fast enough, I would be able. I wouldn't even be able to get to having to skim it over again, because I wouldn't be able to even read. I can't read the material fast enough to even get it through one time. And then she was like, this is the one that like kind of really pissed me off, and she was like, in my 9 years of school, I never needed to speed read, so I don't understand why you would need it. First of all, you're not me. Second of all, do you have my condition? Third of all, do you know what it's like to be an English major? Because last time I checked, we don't study the same program. We're not in the same program. And then I was so stunned by how she just went off on me, how she just attacked me like that, and I was like, what is happening right now? Like, seriously, like, this is an accessibility. This is a place where like should be a safe place. So now it's at the point where like even in spaces that should be safe for me, I'm not safe. I left and like I started crying again because it was like I just think it's wrong to treat a student like that, especially one who has a learning disability. I was just trying to get help, and I was just trying to do better at school, and I don't think anyone would disagree with me that in order to finish all the books that you have to read in English, you need to be able to read at a higher speed per minute, or like be able to read faster than the average person. So I just need help with that. And if there's a learning strategist that can help me, I was trying to take advantage of that. So following this experience, I was like, no, like I need to say something, because she could be saying and just attacking kids like who in accessibility who can't stand up for themselves and can't say anything. So I had emailed the manager, I guess, of accessibility, and basically like told her everything that happened to me and told her everything that the advisor had said to me. So following that experience, I walked to SLC. I called my best friend and I was like, I told her everything that happened, and she was like, dude, like come to SLC, like kind of thing, like and it wasn't because of her comments that was so much so what she was getting at. It was how she was going about it. She assumed more than anything else that I was trying to do school the easy way out. And she assumed that I was trying to not study or just trying to do less so I could have more time for everything else. She was like laughing at me, and she was just really rude, and it was like she just snapped at me for absolutely no reason, and it was just unnecessary and it was unneeded. And before you do all of that, before everything that she said to me, she could have avoided all of that just by trying to ask me why or like what's going on, but she didn't. She just started attacking to me. And accessibility is a place that students who require accommodations should feel listened to. I don't feel listened to. I didn't feel listened to. So I just want to highlight some of the things that manager at accessibility had said to me. So basically, she said, one of the things she said was like, I imagine that the intent of her comments were not to harm, rather to guide you away from a technique that may not be beneficial and towards strategies that may be more helpful for you in the long run, which I understand. I wasn't necessarily getting at like, I just want to speed read as in the sense of like trying to read really fast. I just meant like trying to increase my speed, like trying to read a little bit faster so I can keep up. That's all. That's all I meant. Her strategies weren't even addressing that. And it's like if you're an advisor trying to help students with learning disabilities, you should know that students with learning disabilities, like they probably can't read as fast as everyone else or something else. But like the way she was talking to me, those are some things you should be addressing. A student who doesn't have a learning disability, don't come at me when I'm not able to even read at the level that I'm supposed to yet. Like don't come at me. It's not my problem. And you should know better regardless. I shouldn't even have to have had this experience in the first place, and one time is way too many, because when I go to do homework at, what's it called, they have like a learning lab at accessibility. I saw her one time because it's like all open out, and I never went back in to do my homework because it's like I immediately remember everything she said to me and how she went on a tangent and how like she just snapped at me for no reason, and I don't need to be reminded that somewhere where I should be safe I'm not safe. So I just stopped going to accessibility, and I don't go there unless I have to, unless I have an appointment, and just pray to God I don't see her. Which is terrible, because that's not what accessibility is designed for. And that's not what accessibility should be doing for kids. And then the second thing that she said, which was like so stupid to me, she was like, perhaps a learning strategist would be a good option for you, which is fine, which is awesome, because that is what I was getting at when I had met with her and I had asked her, hey, does the learning strategist go through things to help with reading? So we could have avoided all of this if you were just like, yeah, you can meet with the learning strategist. Instead, I had to have this terrible experience that traumatized me forever. I don't know how she's still working there. I don't know how she's talking to kids. I just pray to God that she's not doing what she did to me, because it wasn't cool and it wasn't right. This is the third experience that I had during second year that threw me over the edge. I was like, that's it. I was like, I'm done. I can't go to school the next semester. I was like, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like I can't do it. So I was enrolled in an English class second semester, and I was doing really well. I had like a 78. There was a midterm first, and I did really well. Got like 70 something. It was pretty good. So one thing that I forgot to mention about accessibility is that if you want accommodations for exams, you need to send it in at the beginning of the semester, and then it gets approved by your professor. And I can't get accommodations or alternative testing unless they approve that through online. So The date that she was giving out the exam, I couldn't apply for it because the website wasn't letting me. There was like no spaces available for it. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll just choose another day. And then she signed off on it. So I had gone into my exam with a 70, at least like a 76 or a 77. So, and I was doing really well in this course, and it was a course that I really enjoyed. And I'm also really good at English, so there's absolutely no reason why I should fail. I ended up getting like a 43, and I was like, what? Like, how does that happen? How does that happen? So I emailed her, and I was like, hi professor, like I went onto Quest to see my mark, and I didn't see my mark there, to know what's going on. And she was like, that she assures me that there was no mistakes, and she was basically saying like, unfortunately, I just can't see how to pass your work, like when I didn't like understand the course material, which didn't make sense to me because even if I did bad on the essay, fine, whatever, but the exam was cumulative, so it's like, how if half the content on it was from the content that I had already studied and done well on the first midterm and got like, I don't know, like a 76, how do I all of a sudden fail it? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I asked her, and when I sent her, and I was like this, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm like, this is just not making any sense. Like, either I understand the material or I don't. Like, I understood the material, which is why I was like, there's no way. Like, I knew what I was doing. So I was like to her, and I sent her an email, and I was like, is there any way that I can meet up with you to just discuss my grade and understand what happened? Like, what was the marking? Like, I just don't understand how like, you're saying I'm not understanding the material, because I know for a fact I understand the material. So she sends me back this email letting me know that, yeah, I can meet with her, but like if I'm not able to meet with her, she can like phone call me or Skype date. Then she says to me, which I'm like, whoa. No, lady, you can't be saying that to me. And she goes to me, and I highlighted it, and she was like, I warn you though, that I absolutely will not reconsider your mark. Never asked her to reconsider my mark. She goes, I feel you've been afforded a great deal of consideration already. You broke the rules to write your test and didn't inform me of your delayed test date so that I could provide you a different exam. I didn't break no rules because I handed in the testing accommodations way before the final exam, because the date that I wanted to write it on, which was the date that she had been giving it to the rest of the class, wasn't available for me, but I need to write in accessibility so I can get alternative testing. So if you signed off on it without looking at the date, not my problem. But she's in this email saying that I broke the rules. Like I didn't break no rules here. To me, I'm just thinking like just from that section alone, I'm looking like, I think she's discriminating against me. But I really did know the material. I really did. And I know my English. That's one thing I do know. I don't know a lot of things about school, but like English, I know that. So then she sent me her like mark breakdown, and basically she was like, unfortunately you got a 23.5 on the exam. Going to be honest, I've failed courses before and I've done really bad in a lot of courses. There's no way I could have got a 23.5 on an English exam. So essentially what had ended up happening was, after her not being able to give me specific details on what exactly I messed up on, or giving me specific information as to what questions I weren't able to answer, I felt like I should do a petition, because something about it just didn't seem right, and the way she was going about it felt very unprofessional to me. So I ended up doing a petition. I had emailed in all the evidence that I had, all of the emails that I showed you guys, I guess like documents from accessibility showing that she had already signed off on me taking the test the day that I did. When I got my petition back, I actually ended up passing the course. So if I was really doing as poorly as she said I was, it wouldn't have made sense that I would end up passing her course. So all three of those experiences from second year is what made my life a living hell. And those are the experiences that made me take a way less course load next semester. While all of these experiences were happening, I was hurting myself, and I knew that I couldn't go into another semester like that, or having to face another full semester and have gone through what I had gone through. And I'm really glad that I did, because the same semester that I had taken off and only taken like 2 courses, 2 other students had committed suicide. What I had learned was when I was home for the 4 months and taking away less course load because I was doing online classes, I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't trying to hurt myself. I was happy. I was healthy. So it just goes to show that it came from the school, and I'm not saying that all of it is entirely their problem, but majority of it is. And I'm saying this because I go through it and I continue to go through it. And I know for all the students who have hurt themselves on campus, I know that it wasn't just because like mental health was bad or whatever. Like, people are mean. And those 3 experiences during just that 1 semester don't even amount to half of all the things that I've experienced during my time at U Waterloo alone. So because there's so much more that I want to cover and there's so many more experiences that I want to tell you guys about, I'm going to be releasing part 2 next week. So I'm hoping that I can get through what I experienced in my 3rd year and my 4th year at University of Waterloo. I know at the beginning of this video I said that I'm in my 3rd year at U Waterloo, but basically the reason I'm in my 3rd year, not my 4th year, is because due to me continuously having to take breaks and continuously having to drop courses, I'm not able to graduate in time as everyone else because of the things that I happen to encounter. So that's why I'm still here, and that's why I'm left behind in school. I want to conclude this video saying this: because of everything that I've experienced and everything that I continue to experience, it's the reason why I hate education, and it's the reason why school makes me sick, in the sense that if I see anything that has to do with school or anything that reminds me of my school, I feel sick to my stomach, because everything reminds me of all of the things that I had gone through at my school. And all of these experiences happened to me because of my mental health. Professors are there to help everyone, not just students who don't have accessibility or students who don't have any psychological disorders. So it's like, it's unfair because those professors are getting paid and we're paying. I don't get refunded for the pain. I don't get compensated for the things that had happened to me. I don't get compensated for having to take time off. I don't get time back when I have to drop a course because a teacher discriminates against me. Even though I got to do the petition, during that time, it was so nerve-wracking and it was so anxious and it was so scary, because it's like, these are things that I shouldn't even have to encounter in the first place, but because I have a learning disability, I'm put at a disadvantage and put in a way that puts me, I don't know, like, it puts you as a target, basically. I see my learning disability as a target. And I just pray that every class that I go into, that the teacher's nice and that the teacher isn't going to use my learning disability against me. And that's just the truth. And I'm not making it up. And I guarantee you, there's a bunch of other students who are feeling the exact same way that I do, but they're just too afraid to come forward because it's confusing. Because they say that they're trying to do the best to protect us and to help us. But when you feel like you're not being helped, what do? Basically, my school teaches students how to learn in order to be successful. They don't teach you how to be kind. They aren't teaching us how to love. I know this because even our professors don't even know how to be kind to students. They don't even know how to love students or treat them in the way that they deserve. So how is it that we expect the mental health at our school to get better when professors and students and just the entire community doesn't even understand the basics of just being a human and just being kind to one another? It's never going to change. You can implement whatever you want in the university, unless you're addressing professors and students and that relationship, or just advisors and students, and trying to come up with like a system that works for both parties. It's never going to be okay, and it's never going to fix itself. It's never going to get better. And one of the things that they had taught us in one of the PD courses that I've taken was that if you have a problem with a coworker, you don't address it with another party. You go to that coworker and you talk about it. Why is it that my school is going to outside sources such as the Mental Health Commission of Canada when their students who are having the problem are sitting right there and no one's talking to us? We still go unheard. We still go unnoticed because there's still a problem that isn't being addressed. And regardless of what the Mental Health Commission of Canada has to implement, they don't go to school with us. If I'm asked to do a course evaluation every semester for every course that I'm in, why is it that I'm not asked an evaluation of the mental health services on campus, or my experience as a disability, or what I feel can be improved on? Are those things that shouldn't be improved on? Are those things that we just leave undone? Because we know to fix classes and course content by what students say, so why is it different when it comes to something like mental health? It doesn't make any sense, and that's just how I feel, because I can name and I could come in and speak up about 10 or 20 things that I actually feel will be beneficial because I'm a student here and I know what will help me. So it would be great if we had a place to come forward to say that, instead of us having to go unheard of and waiting for something to change and then having to come out on the internet about everything that's happening at the university. So that's all I have for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I got another video on this topic next week. Bye guys.